All right. Another math lesson. So we've worked with adding positive and negative whole numbers, subtracting positive and negative whole numbers. Continue to work on both of those skills if they're not one of your strengths. Today we're moving on to multiplying and dividing. We're going to do it all in one day. This is a fairly simple skill, especially when you compare it to something like adding or subtracting that has a bunch of rules to it. This is pretty simplistic. So whole numbers that are positive or negative, multiplying and dividing. Here we go. The rules for multiplying and dividing are exactly the same, which is beautiful. So if you are multiplying or if you are dividing, it doesn't matter. The rule that we are going to go over applies to both operations. And that rule states in the first scenario, when you multiply or divide two numbers that have the same sign, and when I say same sign, that would mean two positives multiplied or divided together, or two negatives that are multiplied or divided together. If their sign is the same, the answer is going to be positive. So, super duper easy example of that is something that you should all already know. Positive 18 divided by 3. Well, we know when you divide positive numbers, you get a positive answer. 18 divided by 3 is just positive 6. There's not a lot of thought that we need to put into that. The same would be true if you have two negative numbers. Negative 18 divided by negative 3 when the signs are the same. Both of these numbers have the same sign. They're both negative. When they're both negative or both positive, your final answer is positive. So 18 divided by 3 is 6, and since they're both negative, my final answer is going to be positive 6. There's not much more to it than that, but if you want to see one more, we could do, I don't know, let's do negative 25 times negative 3. And the reason that I put numbers in parentheses sometimes is so that you don't have like times and then a negative sign right next to it. Sometimes that confuses people. Either way, a negative times a negative is a positive, and then that means all I really need to do is the math, which is 25 times 3, which is 75. Okay, enough of that. The second scenario is what happens when you are multiplying or dividing two numbers that have different signs. So that would mean a negative multiplied or divided by a positive. So you've got one of each. When they have different signs, your final answer is going to be a negative number. So positive multiplied by a negative results in you having a negative answer. All right, so some examples. 3 times negative 4. The numbers don't change. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times negative 4, 12. However, since it's a positive multiplied by a negative, since I have different signs, my answer is going to be negative. I mean, think about what that means. What does 3 times 4 mean? It means 3 groups of 4. Or you could read it backwards, 4 groups of 3. But I'm going to say 3 groups of 4. In this case, it's 3 groups of negative 4. So that's negative 4, negative 4, negative 4. In total, negative 12. That's why when you multiply a positive by a negative, your final answer is negative. And the same holds true when you're dividing. If you've got different signs, and we'll just create our own example here, let's do negative 72 divided by positive 8. Well, a negative divided by a positive, I already know my answer is going to be negative. And then it's just go to the actual numbers and do the math there. So 72 divided by 8 is 9. Final answer, negative 9. So for today, pretty simple. No fractions or decimals or anything. We're keeping it super simplistic just to make sure we've got our rules down pat and understand the basics of working with negatives. And then going forward, we're going to throw in decimals and fractions, and then we'll move into solving equations and fun stuff like that. Either way, if you've got questions, let us know in the Google Meet. Do your best, take your time, show your work, and that's it. Have fun doing math and other things other than math because it's summer. Bye.